So if you're sitting at the light and you're crying in your car, just know that I see you. And it's a 50-50 that I'm bloodshot, gun shy, once bitten, twice tried, ribs pried wide to the sky till I'm see-through.
That's you, in case you don't recognize yourself.
You don't think I see you struggling to breathe, but I do. I see you stumble in your everyday grief like I do. I try, but I do. I'm twice bitten too. My mind's split in two. My knuckles bright white from the 10 to the 2. And the song in my head is the theme for a fugue. A state of decay through the filter of corporate news, where they edit the grays and the blues. They whitewash the brown till they drown out the natural hues. And then it's just another fact to refuse, that the corporate ladders for hanging the company noose. Consider it one of your perks, after all it's communal in use. So you can come and hang till your legs go limp and they're shaking you loose. Now you watch 5 co-workers opt for the alternate exit, neatly suspended above where you wolf down your food. And your company gets its incentives embellished by harping on wellness, suggesting you'd best take time for your mental health after your 14 hours are through. Like we gave you a bottle to piss in and fixed up a noose on the crossbeam. Christ, what more can we do? So if you struggle to breathe any moment that you aren't asleep, then remember, most of Americans fear for their savings, fear for their shelter, fear for their babies. You aren't the fringe of exception, but rather a perfect example of capital's rule. And you're far less alone than the ruling class tells you is true. You're far less alone than the ruling class tells you is true. I see you crying in your cars, but I do.
When you are not with where majority of Americans are, then, you know, that is extreme. That is an extreme way of thinking. Set you free, but I really want to let you be. And a part of me wished I could set myself aside, just let you take the ride, just chalk the rest up to destiny. I could let you believe that the only restraints in life are the size of your dreams. Let you believe each kid grows up with the world at their feet. when I know too well it's open season. I know they're taking stock and raising stocks and raising stock. And I'm simply not here to sit and watch as you learn the lesson all cogs are taught. Keep your head down and keep to task and just keep on blocking the rest of it all out. Just keep on with the rest of the herd of a million adjacent oblivious workers. The forest unseen for the trees, and the trees unseen for the fallout. Now what's more damning, baby, the truth or the ignorance? Fuck it, I honestly wonder if I see the answer so well. Baby, believe me, well, I know it's scary, I scare myself. If I could find a way out of my head, I would run like hell. I would ditch this body politic, mindless occupant somewhere far from the dismal abyss. In the tranquil crystalline bliss of the beach, I could rest with the rest of the shells. And if anyone asks, I'm anywhere else. If I'm really needed, just light the candle, then read the book, and then ring the bell. Oh, my untarnished heart, my little perfect soul. This world will melt your mercy down so they can sell its gold. This world will take your worth and then demand 1,000-fold. It's full of greedy pigs who'll eat you out of house and home. They'll strip your bank account and sweep you somewhere down the road, and then return to eat your tent and shitty bike you rode. Your bottled water, only shoes and coat and broken phone. Then smiling in your face, they'll tell you that the shelter's closed.
An extreme way of thinking.
Hoped you would never find out, knew that you had to know. Pulling what's left of my mind out, trying to tell you so. I tried to block the light out, knew you could feel its glow. I've been here holding my hands out, trying to keep you close, trying to keep you close.
Oh, my untarnished heart, my little perfect soul. This world will melt your mercy down so they can sell its gold. This world will take your worth, then demand 1,000-fold. I tried to block the light just so I could keep you close.
Maybe that's how it goes. We won't open our eyes, so we're the last ones to know. We're the last ones alive, kept our enemies close, wondered why we don't thrive, while we're grasping at ghosts, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards from 5.
Count back from 5. The theater on fire, the cast on strike. The studio stock starts taking a dive. The contracts tossed and they're gone with the tide. The heads and execs, their hands are tied. We can't pump this dreck and treat you right. But what do you expect from the industry type who survive by the leeching of bodies and minds? From those who original thoughts never seem to find. So they're gonna reboot ALF before your wages rise. And it gives cause to pause and reflect on the times. If they're losing control of their fools and their mimes, when all those obedient actors who grew their careers by averting their eyes are now holding the line, along with the authors of countless scripts that strengthen the hand of that corporate grip, squeezing our throats till we take the pen and we accept and consent to the corporate drip, till you're all up to date on your pharma du jour, till you got a healthy support for the war on your lips. And now you know that the advertisers need more than a rerun summer full of flashback clips.
Enter the scans from the year before, all the days of de-aging and mapping the face, and the hours of actors recording their voices are links in the chains that will bind them in place. Now all of those shows are so easy to make. When they got a drone they control that needs no break, it can bend, it can break, and it's cheaply replaced enough up-to-date films all in one take. And those studios bank on us doing our duty, unhinging our jaws and taking...
There's a difference between peace and liberation, is there not? You can have injustice and have peace. Isn't that correct? Have peace and be enslaved.
Yes.
So peace isn't the answer.
No.
Liberation is the answer.
Speakers.
Liberation.
News.
Hello. It's us again. Hello. Are we live? Are we good? Did we do it? Did I press the buttons good? What is happening? Oh, I know what's happening. I'm silly. Alright. Technical errors. Mute tab. I mean, mute these other tabs that when I go to them, they don't fucking load. God. Always something, Care Bear. It's another episode of Wine and News. It's me, Reef Breland, with my co-host as always, Collin Radix-Carter, aka Care Bear. Care Bear, how you doing? How's DC holding up? Is it on fire yet? Has it started to get ridiculously unbearably hot and humid and unbearable? Okay.
Not yet.
As we all know, Florida's just started to preheat. So that's nice. Got that preheating going.
They're supposed to get really hot starting tomorrow?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Tomorrow it's 83. 83 is going to be fun. Yay.
But yeah, I'm finishing up school in a couple weeks, so I'm just trying to get the last of my paperwork and projects done before we break for the summer. So a lot going on, but trying to manage it all.
Yeah.
And do this.
Just in home stretch mode. So you had the TV cart in the room for a while. They've watched every episode of Schoolhouse Rock already.
TV carts do not exist anymore, Reef.
I know. It's all projectors now, right?
We're not at that point yet. In the end of days. That will be in 2 weeks.
The Miss Frizzle and the Bill Nye.
No, that will be the week of the 15th, where we have a weird week. Considering we have that Monday. On the Monday, Tuesday we have off because it's election day in DC.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is the last day of school for the kids, and then that Friday is Juneteenth weekend. So yeah, so I've been saying, haven't said it formally yet, but I told parents because a lot of camps start that week. So I was like, if your child has camp, don't feel like you have to bring them to school.
Right.
Or conversely, like, if you really do not want to bring your child to school, don't. Like, yeah, it makes no sense to come in at a weird 3-day week to end.
No sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Well, we had a snow day to make up. We had two, but we had a snow day to make up. So the 18th was the makeup day. But yeah, given that it's a weird 3-day week, it's just like,
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
nothing.
Right.
Like, so really next week is my last actual week with them. And then after that following Monday, I'm like, get out.
Get out. Get out of my classroom. What are you doing? Take your weird sticky stuff with you, children. Get out of here. Oh, we brought some stories.
Yeah. You brought an extra one.
I did.
Tonight.
I don't know if you've been around the White House area of DC recently, but
no.
They've been building.
I rarely go down that far. So I live further north.
Yeah.
Like of the White House. Like
you're like, yeah, don't go to those Southerners down there, man. I ain't messing with them.
There's nothing really much. If those of you who've never been to DC, like the White House area, there's really nothing much going on around there that warrants, especially after I was going there.
Yeah.
Unless if you're going out to dinner, there are very few restaurants or like hotels, sure, but like it's mostly all businesses, and they are shut down like after 6-7 o'clock because everyone's heading home. Like no one lives really in that area, so there's really no reason for you to be in that area at all. So no, I don't ever really, at least on a weeknight, I'm ever there. Yeah, I'm more often than not in my.
They've been doing construction of this like UFC arena there, as well as like constructing that ballroom nonsense, right? Which is still happening.
Yeah.
But I brought a poem by Caitlin Johnstone as an extra about it that I felt was very good. Reminded me of anyone's ever heard of Whitey on the Moon. Reminded me of that.
Right.
Which I might have to read that too during that segment. We'll see. That should be an easy Google. I'm sure the AI overview of Google will help, send me somewhere fucking awful. But you brought some stories.
I did.
Yeah.
So the first one is a kind of late, but it still kind of applies. Add this to a playlist of how Democrats suck. So the autopsy that the DNC was going to release, they finally did. I think this was a couple of weeks ago now, and it was a huge sack of shit, as expected. So, Black Agenda Report did a scathing critique of it, which was delicious. So we're going to read that in a minute. And then later on tonight, this might relate to your last story a little bit. I didn't entirely, I skimmed through it. It might it will connect, I think, in some ways. Yeah. Israel is targeting the Philippines for their resources. And I said this last night. I just feel like we talk about the same story, but
they just move the pieces around. That's what happens.
So you guys are smart. You guys have been, those of you who've been on the show long enough can make the connection or notice the pattern. Like an imperial power goes in the guise of, trade and diplomacy and all this bullshit when they're really trying to take their resources. So, and then along with that, it's funny how mainstream media or somewhat mainstream how interprets that to how the reality is with people on the ground, or at least people who are in the know. So what are they stealing / exploiting? Your ass, we'll get into that later. And then what did you bring?
Well, to your argument, me and Indy have been talking about, because of the genocide that's been happening now for how long in Gaza? Since,
over 2 years.
And then you go back to the 1948 and whatnot, it's forever. People are so burnt out on the atrocities that when Israel does the same atrocities in new countries, like people are like tuned out already, you know?
Mhm.
And like even us, we're like, oh, we've covered this, you know? Like it's just, you know, new place this time. Like
Right.
the front is moving, you know?
Right.
So, which last week we covered Israel's propaganda in a couple of ways recently, right? They what? It was like $170 million worth of funding towards Hezbollah that got announced recently. But we're going to look at one of the specifics tonight. So this little app that was found that they're paying for and what it might be doing. And recently, I don't know if you saw this, Collin, but you know, Mr. like evil villain himself, Dr. Evil Schwab, was in Johannesburg, and you know, talking about the quote unquote intelligent age of AI, right? You know, this next revolution of, you know, it's not the industrial age, it's the intelligent age. But yeah, he had some words that we're gonna break down. And you know, my extra Johnstone story that I already talked about.
Right.
And
as always, most of you are probably return fam, so welcome. Thank you for being here with us for another Wednesday. Those of you who are new, welcome. We're happy that you're here. How did you find us? Let us know. But YouTube has suppressed us to high heaven because we talk about stories that are not favorable to their AdSense or algorithm. So in order to help us, and you guys have been really helping us a lot, which has been wonderful. So thank you for that. But if you want to help us financially, because YouTube takes 30% of your money if you give to them via Super Chat, we don't want you, you can do that, but we don't want you doing that, quote unquote. So if you want to help us financially and ensure that most of, not all of your money goes to us, you can scan the QR code you see on your screen, or you can go to the Ko-fi link you see at the bottom of your screen. Or if you're new to chat and live, you could type in !donate, all one word, and the Ko-fi link will pop up and you can give right there directly. Anything helps, even as little as $1. We also understand times are hard, gas is up, food is up, travel is up, everything's up. So take care of your families, take care of your friends, take care of your neighbors, take care of yourselves before you give to us. We're doing this out of love to you all at no cost because we believe we don't want to suppress the truth via a paywall. We don't believe in that here. But we do need support in terms of paying for the programs that we need in order to help this show and other shows on the network running. It does cost a lot. So if you're able to help us at minimum with those costs, we will thank you for that. And anyone who gives generously will be is highlighted in the page as Reef is showing, and those names will be featured in our closing credits of the show. So this is just our small way of saying thank you to all those super fans who have really given their finances to us. And if you don't want to give via Ko-fi, you can give via Cash App, PayPal, Patreon, or Substack, especially if you're looking to give monthly. That will also be a help to us. And as we said, you're not inclined to give. If you want to support us, the best way and the free way, it's a like, subscribe, and share our content, share our clips to your friends who you might think the information that we report on, well, we don't report on that, we commentate on the reporting that people who are better than us do. Let's surely leave a comment in order to engage us. Apparently that helps in the algorithm. And help us get to 3K. I think we're about 15. The last, I have to double check, but we're
2,987 is what we're at.
So 13. 13 subscribers for away from 3K. So we'll probably hit that by this month for sure.
For sure.
It's just a question of when. So maybe tonight.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But thank you guys for pretty much getting us there. And we love you and thank you.
Dope. All right. To our first one, Boy Wonder.
First one. So our first story tonight, this was reported on maybe about a couple of weeks ago or even a week ago. I don't remember, but the news cycle runs so quickly and we have the brains of gnats that we tend to forget. But just given the title, well, I just took the name from the title of the article, or at least part of it. So that in of itself is amusing in of itself. But this is reference to the autopsy that the DNC finally released about a couple of weeks ago that they literally shit the bed on.
I mean,
so
an autopsy would be on a dead party, you know? Like they'd be dead to do the autopsy, you know? Like
right. So so we're going to look at what mainstream media has to say about it first. So this is from CBS News. And then we'll do the critique via Black Agenda Report. So you don't have to play the whole thing, Reef. I forgot to time it properly. But yeah, I'll tell you when to stop. But let's see and hear what mainstream media has to say regarding the autopsy. You can go ahead.
Welcome back. After what can only be described as a very long delay, series of reversals, probably some recriminations thrown in there too, the DNC has released its autopsy report on the 2024 election. The report, among other things, says former President Biden did not, quote, effectively support Kamala Harris. It also says Democrats did not successfully focus on Trump's, that is to say, candidate Trump's negatives, and claims Democratic candidates have, quote, proven incapable of projecting strength, unquote. DNC chair Ken Martin, interestingly, says he does not endorse what is in this report. Wow. Okay, let's bring in our political panel. Republican strategist Jim McLaughlin and Democratic strategist Amanda Lippman. Well, Amanda, let's start with you. Did you read all the autopsy?
I skimmed it.
Okay.
I gave it a little glance over.
Did it say anything at all that was new to you and in any way relevant to what you think the party needs to do in the midterms or 2028?
The DNC autopsy was so poorly done. I mean, the guy that Ken Martin chose to do it was a friend of his, Paul Rivera, who apparently did not interview any of the major players on either the campaign or the outside parties or at the party itself. He didn't keep transcripts of any of his interviews. Nothing could be fact-checked. He couldn't provide any proof of data. The amount of inaccuracies in it is unbelievable.
As I read it, it's riddled with inaccuracies.
It's riddled with inaccuracies. And not only that, it has so many blank holes. The only reason it's out is because somebody leaked it. It is just top to bottom incompetency.
Is it an indictment from your vantage point, Amanda, of Ken Martin as the DNC chair himself?
Yes. Ken Martin ran for DNC chair, promising he was going to do an autopsy and really learn from what we messed up in 2024. We spent billions of dollars and we lost an election. Why? Let's learn how to do it a little bit differently. Then come December, he says, you know what? We're actually not going to release it. As it turns out, it's because it was a load of crap. Come forward to the next 5 months, and he does interview after interview after interview, trying to gaslight us, to tell us we're the crazy ones for asking him to keep his promises. Instead, as it comes out, he couldn't get it done competently. He has no trust. He's barely raising any money. We have to stop settling for mediocre men at the top of our party. Ken Martin has got to go. It is not acceptable to have someone.
We got to have mediocre women instead, because that's what's been happening.
Like him running this institution, which we desperately need people to believe in leading into the presidential primary in 2027.
Jim, I bet you're just going to sit back here and bask in the enjoy this
Let me
Democratic infighting.
You know, the amazing part, and by the way, I think a lot of these autopsies, they're stupid. Because whether the DNC's doing it, or even when the RNC did it back then, it was stupid.
After 2012.
That's
and what was interesting about that, Trump ignored every single thing in that autopsy and then won in 2016.
And they told us we had to go softer on immigration. And then Donald Trump came along and said, we got to make the American people safer. But you know what they were missing in that autopsy?
In the DNC autopsy.
Yep. What they were missing in the DNC autopsy.
Alan, I'm losing brain cells.
The big number were the exit polls that were done by this network and others, where they said 70%
what is this, fucking
of Americans
ESPN?
said the country was off on the wrong track. And by the way, none of the media polls were showing that. We were seeing that in our internal polls for President Trump. And that's what we used. And it was.
You gotta go. I want fucking John Madden with a telestrator to come out. No, you gotta go over here, and you gotta go right here. You gotta go right through the offensive line. Like that. Fucking, I want that guy. Stephen A. Smith will come out. He'll say some dumb shit because that's his job. Like, this is fucking awful.
Contrasted the
They're
Democrats' record, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump.
To that point, how's that?
They're acting like there was strategy involved in anything. You know? Oh, God.
Right track, wrong track working right now for you, Jim.
And look, it's not, trust me, it's not 70% right now. And look, we know what's going on. Donald Trump understands it. And right before we had our little diversion into Iran, which, by the way, is not going to last forever, and
Still
things are going to be
unpopular,
on the right
net.
track. Yeah, it depends how you ask the question.
Always does.
Sure,
When you
sure
tell
does.
people this is all about getting rid of Iran's ability to raise
poll slightly
nuclear
better.
weapons, it's
Point taken.
not just slightly, it's like 60% support it. They think it's a good idea.
If that can be done.
Yeah.
And the president's going to have to live up to that standard. You know that as well as I do.
And but I think it can be a big success for him.
We have an iron rule on this program. If I pitch it before the break, we have to talk about it with the panel. So I talked about the mayor and these World Cup
You can
tickets.
stop
Here's-
there.
Well,
Sorry,
moron,
killed-
good for Happy Gilmore. Oh, my God.
Sorry, I
Dude.
killed your brain cells a bit,
Oh,
Reef.
fuck. But I don't have a lot to fucking go around, Colin. There's only a few in there. All right? I gotta fucking hold on to the ones I got. Holy shit.
Well, I wanted to play
Like-
that so we can get into the article. Because I think it was a little better in terms of the critique within the autopsy. So this article is written by, love his name, Anthony Karefa Rogers-Wright, who ties a big D dysfunction. See, again, I love that title. Like, very clickbait. Hence, that's why I titled it that way. Why the Democratic Party's latest comedy of errors is a tragedy of strategy. Oh, I would argue lack of, but anyway, our guy Anthony reports the party that installed its presidential candidate without a primary vote now blames its 2024 loss on everything except its own contempt for its base and allegiance to neoliberal policies. Now me donkey mad, they say. Don't tie me donkey down there, 'cause his eye on a bale of hay. Don't tie me donkey down there. Jackass will jump and bray, let him bray, let him bray. Jackass will jump and bray, let him bray, let him bray. That's from Hella Belafonte, from the Jackass song. The Democratic Party's donkey logo traces its roots back to the 1828 campaign of white supremacist and eventual president Andrew Jackson, whose opponents referred to him as a jackass due to his populist campaign by the people, for the people, that utilized the slogan, "Let the people rule." Jackson, amused by the jackass monkier, actually embraced the symbolism that depicted his stubbornness and utilized it on his campaign posters. The jackass has remained the party's logo since. It's ironic, yet fitting that the Democratic Party's logo is a result of a combination of satire and instrategence, as both aptly describe the current state of a political party that currently has a lower favorability rating than President Trump. This at a time when the current administration has drawn the nation in a feckless war of choice and aggression with no end in sight against the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the economy, in large part due to the war, continues to squeeze and strangle poor and working class people while pushing them to the margins of deeper penury. Making matters even worse for the Democrats is not only is the party trailing Trump, it's also trailing the Republicans as a whole in total party approval at a rate that is lower than when it was at this time last year, according to a poll taken by CNN last month. And it's not as if there was some superior MAGA outreach and propaganda campaign that's souring public opinion of the Democratic Party. Actually, as it turns out, the people taking the most umbrage with the party are those who identify as Democrats. Based on a recent poll, a plurality of potential Democratic supporters and then-leaning independents are dissatisfied with the Democratic Party at 53% and 65%, respectively. This dissatisfaction is being expressed by numerous demographics within the party, including but not limited to young, white, black, and college-educated voters. Moreover, Democrat and Democratic-leaning voters are expressing what has been described as a combative, anti-establishment mood, which they don't see the party embracing. And this has led to mass fractures within the party that are surfacing and becoming more profound as the U.S. prepares for the 2026 midterm elections. The Democrats are helping themselves than they do poor and working class people, and this was put on full display last week when the Democratic National Committee released its autopsy report meant to provide explanations for why Kamala Harris and other Democrats experienced electoral shell-lacking in 2024. The timing of the release is curious given that DNC Chairman Ken Martin previously refused to do so, citing a need to focus on this year's midterm elections and avoid reopening old wounds. Martin last week reversed his stance and ultimately released a report that was prepared by a colleague of his, Paul Rivera, who is also a Democrat Party consultant. The release was less than ebullient, with Martin asserting that he was not proud of the report, while also adding that the report would not meet your standards as part of a statement he provided following its release. Additionally, the top of each page of the 192-page report includes the message, "Disclaimer. This document reflects the views of the author, not the DNC. The DNC was not provided with the underlying sourcing, interviews, or supporting data for many of the assertions contained therein, and therefore cannot independently verify the claims presented." Martin claims that he ultimately acquiesced and released the report to public's need to trust the Democratic Party, or rather, because they were forced to, I would argue. But this reasoning holds less weight than the Democrat Party's reasoning for not including a pledge to disavow the foreign agent lobby group, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, as part of his party platform. Let's return to the issue of the need for people to trust the Democratic Party. The word trust, according to Psychology Today, is characterized as the belief that someone or something can be relied on to do what they say they will. Trust is a key element of social relationships and the foundation for cooperation. The publication adds, it is critical for romantic relationships, friendships, interactions between strangers, and social groups on a large scale. The lack of trust in such scenarios can come with serious consequences. Indeed, society as a whole would likely fail to function with the absence of trust. An examination of what is contained and omitted from the autopsy report, as well as the reason for why Martin actually released the report, reveals that the Democratic Party has a worse relationship with trust and an understanding of it than Drake does with Kendrick Lamar. First, the reasoning that Martin gave for releasing the report holds less water than a colander. It's clear that he released the report because he learned that the bourgeois press outlet CNN obtained extensive details about its content that apparently included slides generated by artificial intelligence that were prepared for a donors meeting. And according to CNN, many NDC staffers, until very recently, had even seen parts of the autopsy report. This, on top of the fact that Martin broke numerous promises to DNC members that he would release the report. The Democrats are asking people to trust the party when the party doesn't even trust itself. And there may be a reason for that, as CNN speculates. Each delay of the report's release fed a rat's nest of self-serving conspiracy theories. Martin was trying to protect Kamala Harris as she considers another presidential run. Obama campaign alumni were protecting each other. High-priced consultants were trying to keep millions in fees from being revealed, or the party was trying to hide how voters reacted to the Gaza crisis. The report itself reads like a bad script that was poorly written intentionally. It's as if the Democrats were attempting to mimic the strategy utilized in Mel Brooks' The Producers, in which the two conmen hatch a scheme to get rich quick by overselling shares of a musical so offensive to the masses that would have ultimately failed. But instead of writing Springtime for Hitler, in which Brooks' film actually becomes a raging success, the Democrats, with their autopsy report, actually wrote something more along the lines of Springtime for Incompetence, which is less of a dark comedy and more of a comedy of errors. Despite the fact that numerous polls indicate that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrat Party stands on the ongoing genocide in Gaza and its general incompassionate and inhumane treatment of Palestinians, which included sending billions of dollars to fund the Zionist ethno-state of Israel's genocidal war machine, played a key role in losing the 2024 election, the autopsy makes no mention of this issue. It should be noted that Harris herself alluded to the impact of the genocide had on the election in her book, 107 Days, when she claims that I pleaded with Joe Biden when he spoke publicly on this issue to extend the same empathy he showed to the suffering of Ukrainians to the suffering of innocent Gaza civilians. Harris continues, but he couldn't do it. While he could passionately state, I am a Zionist, his remarks about innocent Palestinians came off as inadequate and forced. The report also fails to make any mention about...
out of a coconut tree?
The report also fails to make any mention about voters' concerns with Biden's age, concerns that were only exacerbated following his infamous and innocuous debate with Trump on June 27, 2024, that prompted NBC to release an article with the headline, Babbling and Hoarse, Biden's debate performance sends Democrats into a panic. Even the Democrat Party friendly press outlet, MSN Now, formerly known as MSNBC, aka MSDNC, slammed Martin and the DNC for botching not only the release of the report, but also for the salient elements it omits. In a piece written for the outlet last week, Zihan Alim asserts the DNC report itself is at once both boring and a mess, and the drama surrounding its release distills how utterly disastrous Martin's handling of the autopsy has been from start to finish. As Liam goes on to say, the analysis of what went wrong is narrow in scope and tracks with one might expect from a moderate, risk-averse member of the Democratic establishment. Asleem is correct in naming that the autopsy report is what one can expect from the same DNC establishment regime that essentially endangered a coup following Biden's disastrous debate and installed Harris as the nominee without allowing the masses to weigh in through an actual vote proving there is little to nothing democratic about the Democratic Party that is more emboldened to Zionists, big tech, big oil, and other corporate alabaster puppet masters than his own party members. Yet the conclusions as to why Harris and the Democrats lost in 2024, offered by the autopsy report, is what provides an incontrovertible truth that the Democratic Party is, to use a word Joe Biden used once to describe young black folk, irredeemable. A quick read of the report reveals what it identifies as the key reasons for Harris's loss in 2024. It notes the party's failure to emerge from stagnation and retrogression since Barack Obama's decisive victory in 2008, and specifically names, these losses are the direct result of missed opportunities to invest in our states, counties, and local parties and candidates, adding, Democratic candidates have proven incapable of projecting strength, unity, and leadership, and voters have drifted away. This may be one of the more veracious elements of the report, and I recently discussed how the party's anemic approach to state and local level electoralism during Obama's presidency was myopic and is a major reason why the Democrats and the nation is at its current junction. The report also names the failure of the Democrats to adroitly paint a picture of Trump as derelict, corrupt, and unfit for the presidency, specifically stating it was essential to prosecute a more effective case as to why Trump should have been disqualified from ever again taking office. The Democrats' overpaid consultants should have understood how difficult this would have been given Biden's own issues, including his age and complicitness in Israel's genocide, two issues the report omit, as well as the state of the economy while he was running for a second term. As Eugene Ludwig wrote in an article for Politico, before the presidential election, many Democrats were puzzled by the seeming disconnect between economic reality as reflected in various government statistics and the public's perceptions of the economy on the ground. As such, it would have been, and apparently was, next to impossible to beguile the masses about Trump's indiscretions when Biden and the Democrats were sending billions of dollars to Israel and Ukraine, while Americans were navigating rising costs and lower wages due to the inflation hangover associated with the COVID pandemic. This further demonstrates why the invasion of Gaza was either intentional, incompetent, or a combination of both. Yet the report's assertion for Democrats to focus on less abstract issues and identity politics and connect with voters on the issues they say matter most, including the economy, disaster relief, and addressing housing affordability, that deserves attention, especially for Black folk who continue to bestow steadfast electoral loyalty to the Democrat Party, despite getting a worse return on investment that all the people Bernie Madoff screwed over. Whenever overpaid, out of touch, neoliberal Democrat Party's consultants use the term identity politics, it's an indication of how the party operates and what its thinking is, including but not limited to abject hypocrisy. A signal that the Black vote can be taken for granted because Black vote have no other choice but to vote Democrats, and a plea for Democrats to move more to the right in order to win elections. Let's take a look at each of these variables that make up the Democrat Party's iniquitous and effective equation. The Democrats are absolute hypocrites. In the first place, they are not even using the term identity politics accurately. The phrase coined by Black radical women, feminists in the Combahee River Collective. Do you know what that is, Reef?
I do not, but I can look it up.
Look it up real quick. Refers to the belief that the most profound and potentially most radical politics come directly out of our own identity, as opposed to working to end someone else's oppression.
South Carolina.
Okay, I figured I knew it was South, but I wasn't sure where.
Yeah.
The collective continues. In the case of Black women, this is particularly repugnant, dangerous, threatening, and therefore a revolutionary concept, because it is obvious from looking at all the political movements that have preceded us that anyone is more worthy of liberation.
Might be Massachusetts, actually. Organization of Black Women in Boston, most of whom openly identify as... hold on. Let me click the thing. Hold up a... Hold on. I gotta find that. Continue, and I'll come back to it.
All right. Who more than the Democrat Party has demonstrated to Black folk time and time again the need for our people to focus on our own oppression by organizing for alternative systems as part of a larger Black liberation framework that is both intentional and intersectional. And the idea that the Democrat Party has ever shown a willingness to directly focus on issues like an economy that primarily benefits the bourgeois at the expense of poor and working class people and housing affordability is more laughable than when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez proclaimed that Kamala Harris was working tirelessly for a ceasefire in Gaza during the most recent DNC convention in Chicago. This is the party who, under Biden, voted to break up a railroad worker strike, and more recently, one of its new governors, Abigail Spanberger, just vetoed a piece of legislation that would have given public sector government employees the right to unionize, a move that disproportionately impacts Black workers and Black women workers specifically. In the end, it may very well be that the reason why Martin delayed the release of the autopsy report, even though it admitted key reasons why the Democrats lost in 2024, is because it reveals what many have known for a long time. The D in DNC stands for dysfunctional. And further, the report elucidates that the fact that the Democratic Party didn't need an autopsy report as much as it needed a mirror. But then its leadership would have been able to see that the reason the party continues to fail is staring at them in the face. And even though many in the party are calling for Martin to be jettisoned for his handling of the autopsy report, for putting the party in an untenable economic position ahead of the midterm elections, while the GOP is flush with campaign cash, and for otherwise surfacing the reality that the Democrats are not an opposition party, It's incumbent for the masses to know that removing Martin would remove nothing more than a cosmetic exercise. Lipstick on a jackass is still a jackass. And it's not just the Democrats continue to a torrent economy of errors as much as the fact that they are a joke and black, brown, indigenous, and poor folk are the punchline. Last week we celebrated the birthday of El Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, aka Malcolm X. His landmark speech, Ballot or the Bullet, El Hajj Malik declared, but it is true, you put the Democrats first, and the Democrats put you last. The Democrats' recent autopsy report vindicates El Hajj Malik's sage words, and also reminds us that autopsies are carried out for things that have died, and in the case of the Democratic Party, the best way for the masses to put ourselves first is to not resuscitate it and instead breathe life into a truly liberatory framework that exercises independent social and political power. So it ended basically on what you said. You do autopsies on things that are dead.
Yeah.
So, no, not to say you shouldn't bother, but there's no point to bringing to life of something that's already dead or really to know how it died. It's dead.
Right.
So,
been dead.
You know,
like, dude, you could find this exact article in like the last fucking 10 elections. You know?
Sure.
Like,
sure.
It's like we're still rehashing this idea that if the Democrats weren't so, like, they aren't, and I have to reiterate this again, they aren't, like, this isn't naivety. Like, if it's naivety or malice, it's clearly malice. Like, and it's been happening that way. That's why it's like
malice, like, because malice implies intent. I'll argue apathy. They don't give a shit. They're just like, oh, go, whatever.
No,
like,
it's worse. Like, they know what they're doing and are doing it anyway. Like, you know, that's my thing of like, I mean, I feel you, but it's been deliberate. They've been the Washington Generals, you know,
right.
This whole time. It's a uniparty. We know this. The fucking oligarchical fucking dictatorship. Like, none of these politicians are running the show. You know? Like, fucking, we're going to get to them later. The people who are the billionaires and the, you know,
right.
Fucking, you know, Schwab and like Musk and Zuckerberg and Zucker Musk and, you know.
My thing is I'm getting tired of people not getting the pattern by now.
Right.
And kind of thinking, oh, if we do this thing, or if we tweak it here, or if we do something different here, or we get the right person in here, then things will be different and we can break the cycle of the corruption that exists. Even if, like, just a regular schmegular voter would admit, yeah, the Democrats suck. But the problem is...
You know that motherfucker in the class who, like, just refuses to learn it? Right? Like, that's who you're trying to reach with that. It's like, you know, it's like there comes a point where either they get it or they don't, you know? Like, you know, I'm to the point where that's who I feel like
I'm just kind of pissed of the money, the waste of money that was spent towards, from what I understand, like, and people, and Anthony said in the article, but I also heard other sources that said that, like, it was obvious that AI had a hand in constructing it, and the AI was shit.
Yeah.
So, and, like, just as a teacher, if you were to give me this autopsy as it was, like, you would fucking fail, and I'll be like, you need to do this. Like, if you want to develop that, and, you know, Anthony mentioned trust in the article, like, if you wanted people to trust you, Ken Martin should have been like, look, I understand it's shit, you know, like, I'm not particularly a fan of it. We're going to do this the right way, you know, make sure, like, Now, I'm not saying if people would trust him after that, but like, at least you're putting.
And in no way should you.
Forward. Right.
Like,
However, there's been no talk of like, oh, let's actually do this again properly. We're going to do this in this span of time because we want to assure our voters that we truly understand. And none of that. It's just more or less, okay, here it is. It sucks. We don't care about it. Let's move on and hope that you guys will forget about it in like 2 weeks, which by now people have. And my issue is, come midterms, because this is already happening, people are going to have these critiques, but they're also going to be like, oh, well, we have to vote for them anyway. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, not voting is a choice too.
Yeah.
And you could sit it out. And like, people shouldn't be shamed to sit it out, because if this is how the Democrats are going to treat you and just feel like, oh, you have to vote for us because the Republicans are way worse, you know, like, people are getting tired of, well, some of us are. Like, the rest don't care. Like, they will just do it out of fear. And again, it's the idea of using that fear for people to be reactive, and then they don't get what they want, and they choose to either stay home or vote for the opposing team. And we just repeat the cycle all over and over. So it's, yeah, but so again, it's just the idea of like, people, don't you get it by now that it's like fixed for us to lose perpetually unless we do something about it? Like, you know, if they value your vote, then you should really stick it to them in terms of, you know, what are you going to do for me in terms of my vote? And it never happens. It's like, you know, they friend you with the worst case scenario, even though they're just as bad, and people fall for it every single time.
I call myself a joyful warrior.
Sure. Definitely I definitely don't feel joy right now.
Never let anyone take your joy from you.
You did. Your party did.
God, they're stupid, dude. It's just it's like they're like, that's the role. The role is to be the idiots, you know?
Right.
Like,
and they should be called out as such. It's like people.
That's the crazy bit.
Like, oh, the Democrats mean well. They're trying. No, they're assholes. Like, I could say worse, but I don't want to be demonetized. You know, like,
equally as complicit. They are the problem. They are. There's zero difference between the two, like, at all. Like, not even in minute details of every politician. They are all exactly the same. Like, they are all vile, evil fucks, including the ones that you might like. You know, sorry. You know, glad we shored that up. Glad we got that together. You know,
but regardless, party alcohol is good, delicious. You know, just a quick reminder of, again, why Democrats suck and why we should have nothing to do with them. And as you both said, you do autopsies on things that are dead. So really no bother dealing with it. Democratic Party is dead. Don't deal with them. And saying that is probably why we're heavily suppressed. Then again, some of these stories do fall in the algorithm when we have done stuff like this. Let's see how the algorithm fares in pushing this story. It probably won't, but I'll be surprised. But you guys can help us regardless if you want by scanning the QR code you see on your screen, or you go to the Ko-fi link you see at the bottom of your screen there. If you use YouTube chat and live, you can type in !donate and the Ko-fi link will pop up. And you can give as little or as much as you want, even if it's $1. We would highly appreciate it. And as we always say, you know, you're not inclined to give. So if you want to help support us, or like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And let us know what you think about the Democrats. I'm sure we're going to get some bots who are going to be like, you suffer, like, whatever. Like, you can yell at me at Twitter if you want, but I don't really care. None of us do. We are team like none above on this network. Helvis got to free K. We are 13 away from that, so let's try and hit that. Maybe it's our 200th episode, assuming we're going on next week. Maybe we can get there by then. That would be a nice, nice gift to us. You know, helping us get to free K by next week for our 200th episode at the time of this recording. And thanks for watching.
You know the thing.
Cool. Some people over on the Rumbles. We got animators with the psychedelic hearts that go on forever and ever. And Ghost Art with the "this is fine" emoji and the dumpster fire emoji and the Elmo and hell emoji and the middle finger emoji. I feel like that is self-explanatory. Emma thinks it's real hot here. Oh no. Elmo is very warm. Well, yeah, dude, put some fucking dirt on that grave, dude. Put the flowers down there. Let those fucking bitches rip in pieces. You know what I mean? Like, fucking put the rock on that bitch.
I should put in that meme, where the guy's doing this over the grave.
Sure. Yeah, it's done. Like, there's nails. Plenty of nails have been put in the coffin.
Who are these people?
Fucking,
Oh, this is from Snork Y2K with a $5. Thank you. Well, thank you for the tip.
With the little
thank you for the $5.
You remember Snorks? You watched Snorks?
I did.
Okay. It was weird.
That was before your. Well, unless you watched it on cable.
Well, yeah, like Boomerang was a thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, I watched it on
like actual television, terrestrial, like extraterrestrial, like in multi-dimensional TV. He was on, like in whatever, dude.
That was in the 80s, man. I remember there were Happy Meals. I remember there were Happy Meals for those things, and I got a couple of those back in the day. Yeah,
it's underwater Smurfs, right? Isn't that kind of how it works?
Yeah, but a lot of those cartoons, I think, were kind of a rip of Smurfs at the time. So.
Sure. Well, and it's like Care Bears and Beanie Baby, like all those like 80s.
Well, I think a lot of those riffs, like She-Ra, obviously He-Man, Teddy Ruxpin, a riff of. Can I tell you, I wanted a Teddy Ruxpin so bad.
You wanted a Teddy Ruxpin? We totally get you a Teddy Ruxpin, bro.
It was so into my argument to my family was I read like I was a nerd as a kid, so I read everything. So having a toy that would read to me that was a bear, I'm in, and I begged my family. They knew for Christmas that year, I wanted a Teddy Ruxpin. When we go to the toy store, whenever we go to see it, and I see it, I'm like, can we have that? So, my parents knew about it. I pled my case to try and get it. And I remember that Christmas, and I remember it vividly because I was in New Jersey, in one of my in-between times of living between here and London.
Right.
It was Christmas. It was snowing. And I remember going underneath the tree Christmas, and I see this present, and I shook it. It felt like a stuffed animal. So I was like, yeah.
Teddy's in there, bitch. I know Teddy Pendergrass, Mr. Ruxpin, which is his full name.
And this was the first Christmas that I remember vividly of having to act like I liked a gift when I really didn't. Because I opened that mess up and there was no Teddy Ruxpin in there. It was like this Christmas beagle a la Snoopy that when you pushed his paw would play Christmas music. Like, I remember faking the joy. But secretly I was so pissed. Yeah, I faked, like, I remember being like 7 and I remember faking being happy for that thing when I really was like, I rather would just toss this piece of crap in the trash, So, yeah. Funny now that I look at them now, I'm just like, why in the hell did I want that thing? But,
like, dude.
But, yeah, that's what I wanted.
Like that, just that on your fucking window frame, looking at you all night. Yeah, that right there.
As a kid, I wanted
don't
it so
worry
bad.
about it, kids. Kids, I'm nice, kids. I'm fluffy and nice. Like, this is fucking. Oh, it's even worse. Look at the. Brother. Yeah. Brother. What are we doing?
At the time, that was my jam. I wanted one so bad. Never got it.
Dude, weird shit, bro.
I wonder how much they sell now on eBay or something like that. Probably like thousands of dollars, but yeah. But,
dude, I mean, it's not like us millennials got no room to talk either. So, we got plenty of our own fucked up shit. Like, the books I read too that fucking they made like the worst movies out of them, like the ones I liked growing up. Like, they made movies of them. They're awful. They're terrible films. Like, literally nothing like the books at all. Like, in any capacity. Aragon was one of them.
Sure.
Awful movie. And the Artemis Fowl series, weirdly enough, terrible movie. The worst movie. They're the worst people. I don't get it. They didn't even read the book. They didn't even read it. Any shit. I just why Trump should swear. Trump should swear on television. I don't know why he does. He has, but like, he needs to do that more often. I feel like it would work better for him. This is fucking stupid. Like, I feel like that would work out better. Anyway, Collin, last week we talked about propaganda, specifically Hezbollah or Israeli propaganda. It is same definitions and whatnot. So this is Harrison Berger, reposted from the American Conservative, right? And they write about Israel kind of relaunching and rebranding its propaganda campaign. So last week we talked about they just got a big funding increase, right? For propaganda stuff, specifically online stuff. So, we brought that as a warning for people online. But specifics have come out. So, Israel has relaunched and rebranded Act.il, an online campaign originally designed by Israeli intelligence officials at the Ministry of Strategic Affairs to harass and intimidate American critics of Israel. Such operations are generally referred to as troll farming, although the forces behind Act.il use softer, more highfalutin language. Rebranded as RISE-ACT, the program is operated by Israel's Reichman's University and, according to the project's website, aims to mobilize Act.il's existing database of more than 40,000 pro-Israel online operatives to counter what it describes as anti-Semitism and misinformation. So, this is already 40,000 pro-Israel online operatives. You think you dealt with any of those online?
Probably.
I think people overestimate how much this is literally referred to as troll farming, right?
Right.
So I don't think a lot of people don't know this is happening. To us, I think we find yeah, of course, but this is happening everywhere. So the Reichman University website describes RiseApp as delivering fact-checked, expert-led responses for users to deploy in social media debates and public forums in order to engage in proactive advocacy on behalf of Israel. A dual purpose of the app, Reichman says, is that allows users to flag and to identify emerging adversarial narratives while alerting partner organizations to develop tailored responses. So, weird shit, right? Presentation for the forthcoming app's interface posted to the Reichman website pitches the platform as empowering and uniting the Jewish community and includes tabs for the useful idiots and genocide claims. The latter would seem to provide users with arguments to combat the consensus of human rights organizations that Israel committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, which we've covered extensively on the show. RiseApp's predecessor, Act.il, was launched in 2017 as a joint project of the Reichman Institute and the Israeli American Council, the U.S.-based Israeli lobby group funded by casino billionaire Sheldon Adelson and run by Adam Milstein, who was convicted in 2008 for his involvement in the Speak-It tax fraud ring involving Orthodox Jewish charity fronts, and was operated by Yarden Ben Yosef alongside other current and former Israeli intelligence officials. Yay. We work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Ministry of Strategic Affairs consults with them and manage joint projects. Act.il director Ben Yosef said in 2018 interview with Forbes Israel. God, in an interview with the Ford a year later, he said of Act.il's relationships with Israeli spy agencies, we talk with each other. We work together. We have brunch. We, go on long walks along the beach. We listen to Seal at, late hours of the evening together. No? Oh, just me. As the Ford described the app in 2017, Act.il would gather high school students and adult mentors who complete social media missions assigned out of a headquarters in Herzliya, Israel, including pressuring social media platforms to censor content supported of what, Care Bear? BDS, and critical of Israel, with users getting points for each mission they complete. They literally are gamifying the propaganda, Care Bear. They're gamifying it. You get points. Yeah. You get good boy points. The propaganda and troll campaign was part of a broader Israeli government operation orchestrated by Gilad Erdan's Ministry of Magic and Strategic Affairs, called Concert, whose purpose was to create third-party operated surveillance, censorship, and propaganda firms that could hide all Israeli government links to their operations, which at the time were directed against the BDS movement in North America. Ambiguity is part of our guidelines, the Israeli intelligence officer and Director General of the Ministry of Strategic Affairs, Sima Valkan-Gil, explained in a leaked 2016 video featured in the suppressed Al Jazeera documentary The Lobby, telling a private audience of Adelson ILC activists that Israel has established a civil intelligence unit that collects, analyzes, and acts upon Israel's enemies using data from campuses and labor unions and churches, calling the program Israel Cyber Shield. Care Bear, one might remember we've covered their propaganda arm into churches, right? We've done that a few times, especially recently. Thoughts so far?
F Israel, as India always says.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I've left the article in the doobly doo if people want to, read the whole thing. But yeah, so the rebranding of controversial Hasbara operations is a documented pattern of the Israeli government and its intelligence services before Act.il launched Israeli company Psi Group, also staffed by former Israeli spies and affiliates of Reichman University, ran Project Butterfly to infiltrate and destabilize BDS chapters on college campuses using fake identities, later pitching their social media manipulation services to Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Like, do you see the pattern here? Do you see the type of people we're dealing with?
Yeah.
Like, met Donald Trump at Trump Tower in August 2016, along with the businessman Eric Prince and a man named George Nader, who presented himself as the emissary of the UAE and Saudi Arabia, with the senior campaign aide Rick Gates had separately solicited proposals from the Israeli spy staff firm for a covert influence campaign targeting Republican convention delegates and Hillary Clinton. When special counsel Robert Mueller's Russiagate investigators closed in on those meetings, Psi Group simply shut down and relaunched as Percepto International, while the Israeli lobby insinuated that Mueller was anti-Semitic for looking into Psi Group's Israeli interference efforts. That's funny. Dude, it's just Israeli Knesset approval of the country's largest ever budget for foreign propaganda operations, or Hasbara, quintupling funding from 2025 to a total of $730 million. That scaled-up expenditure comes amid surveys showing declining support for Israel across party lines in the United States, which we covered last week.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts, Care Bear.
The money that is spent just that money could be used for better things instead of.
Oh my God, could it?
Like, and even now, just we're seeing a lot of these local races now, in different states now. Like the amount of money the Israel lobby is just spending to pimp out these candidates, it's a again like that money could be going towards better things, and like of course connected. And I am saying this because we're going for our own elections in DC right now for mayor and then like council right now, and like someone made a comment, like a kind of similar comment, like because one of our candidates is a Democratic social, kind of like on the same vein as Sohar Hamdani, except she's not. I mean, it's DC, so it's not going to get as much play compared to New York. But but obviously people are seeing like the socialist word and like, oh my God, like, oh, socialist, oh my God, like and it's the idea, like this person that I really don't like, but I have to kind of be in somewhat cordial with this guy. But he was like, oh, like if this candidate does some of her policies, businesses will leave. Like again, the critique that people were making as far as the corporations in New York. Oh, if Zohan becomes mayor, then corporations will leave. And like my simple response to that is, well, who makes the corporations run? Who makes the corporations viable? It's the people who work in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the CEOs. It's the workers. So you need to treat the worker. If they're not willing to treat the workers well, then fuck it. They can deserve to go. So.
What? Sorry, you were saying something about.
I think just even among liberals, the idea of like corporations are I'm not saying like corporations are not necessary, but at the same time, it's like if they're not willing to pay their fair share, if they're not willing to work to be better like employment centers for the benefit of the work people who are actually making them the profits, like I mean, like who to think, like that actually might be a decent thing to do, but even here now, granted I live in DC, so it's like kind of slightly different, like compared to like if it's like a small town, but it's still the idea of like corporations have a larger say, if not all the say, versus the people who kind of are looking to vote for them. And we see that with the Israel lobby, and especially with the Israeli media, just how much money they're willing to shell out in order to have people believe their shit, or have their favorite candidate, do their essentially do their pimp, like do like they're whoring out. So it's ridiculous this amount of money that's being used, where that could be used to better society as a whole.
Well, literally, these are things infiltrating your children's college organization groups. Like, they're actively putting fake accounts online, and like, this is literally what they're doing.
Yeah,
have been doing for a long time. Like, back to like 2016 and then some. Like, we're just now starting to follow the money on this shit. So no, this is bad. And like, someone's got to do some shit about some shit coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, anything else you want to tell people?
No, I mean, it just sucks. Like,
yeah,
all this money being spent for propaganda, and that money should be in your wallet. That's really all I gotta say.
It don't make no motherfucking sense.
Well, talking about things like this is why YouTube suppresses our channel completely. So if you would like to donate to us and get around YouTube's, 30% cut, you can go to ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, scan that QR code on your screen, or link is always in the description if you so wish. But otherwise, like and subscribe, share this video is the only way it gets seen by new people, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, thanks for watching. And I guarantee you, Israel will have to spend money on that video. Gonna have to say, yeah, I'm sure some of the comments on that video are gonna be, I'll just waste their time. It's fine. That's fine by me. Snorky in the chat. Snorky was from the Banana Splits decades before Smurfs. This is things I did not know. I did not know of this. What else we got? People still filing in on the Rumble. People over on the Substack. How we doing on the Substack? It makes our labor possible. Yeah.
Workers of the world, unite.
Yeah. Living wage needs elevating in discussions. Dude,
we've done segments on this.
Yes, we have.
We've done plenty of segments on this.
Couple of them.
Yeah,
been a while though.
Yeah, been a while, but yeah, we definitely have talked about how or at least people striking in terms of getting a minimum wage, even in like blue states or blue cities.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yep. I'm with you. All right. You ready for our next one?
Any city, but yeah.
Yeah.
So this story we might need to watch, because I just found out this is a story that I kind of pulled together from seeing a random post on Instagram. So I was like, ooh. And then looking at it, I was like, oh, well, yeah, more of the same shit. So Israel's targeting the Philippines. Why, Collin? So, which might relate to the story that you're going to report on later, Reef. So this is from the Gulf News. We haven't, to my knowledge, used this source before. But again, this could be a story that could be worth looking at, because I'm sure maybe in the future there might be a little bit more reporting on this.
Yeah.
But according to Jay Hilotin, Israel eyes Philippines as a key partner in Pax Silica initiative. Philippine mineral resources to complement Israel's expertise in AI, chips, and cybersecurity. So you probably can already know, those of you who've been in the chat long enough, we'll probably have an idea where this is going. However, as
Pax mean again? Because like is Pax Romana?
Peace.
Peace. Okay. Gotcha.
Latin. Peace.
Yeah. I was making sure.
Yeah. So, but those of you in the chat, you guys are smart. You know what this probably means. But as we will do, we will go through the niceties first of how they're trying to spin it, and how Israel's trying to spin it, and then we get into the real. And then we'll get into the real shit in terms of the capitalism that exists within this, and the exploitation that exists within this. So, but anyway, Jay reports, Manila, Israel's looking to the Philippines as a key partner in a U.S.-led initiative to secure supply chains for artificial intelligence and semiconductors, with the Southeast Asian nation's critical minerals seen as a vital complement to Israel's expertise in high technology. So I actually want to play a clip. This is from Dana Kerr. She's Israel's ambassador to the Philippines. So we'll play this just to see what she has to say in regards to this. Not just this, but I think just Israel's relationship with the Philippines in general. You can go ahead.
And in the past 2 years, we had our foreign minister in June 23, our tourism minister in December 24, and our economic minister in July of this year, 2025, and just 2 weeks ago, on 19th of January, we had our deputy foreign minister. That shows that the Israeli government thinks very highly of the Philippines, because it's working top down. Our prime minister said look east, and he specifically said also the Philippines, and our minister are coming here to explore more avenues of cooperation. So so this is one thing that it relies on the past, and it looks at the present. And if I'm looking at the future, there are two things that are important. One thing is that our economic minister, together with DTI, Secretary Rocker, they launched an FTA, starting discussion of building the mechanism of how we can have more business to business. So hopefully there will be a free trade agreement. We are now just finalizing things. So we initially started in July, and then when it's done, the potential of bond between the two nations will become even more. So this is one important component. And the other component that we had also discussed is hopefully an establishment of direct flights between the Philippines and Israel, because the potential expansion of tourism is very big, and the fact that I meet every Filipino in the streets, and once they know that I'm from Israel, they will say, oh, I've been 7 times, or I'm planning to go. It's been my dream. I do hope that more and more Filipinos will come to Israel, and vice versa. More and more Israelis will come to more than 7,000 mini paradises that you have in the Philippines. So it's both business and both tourism, and we need to provide to our nations, to both our next generation, and that is looking to the future. We need to provide them food security, and we need to provide cyber security, and we need to provide them with health, with mental health and physical health, and in all those realms and more, Israelis and Filipinos can work together to have better future for everyone and to exchange best practices. There is, when it comes to innovation and technology, Israel has some added value, the Philippines has added value, and we need to match them and to do a win-win of both our capabilities to have a better world for our.
Why would any Filipino want to go to Israel given what they're doing is beyond me, but
yeah.
But you notice how she said we need to be in working cooperation.
You want to go to Israel? I go, why?
Like, I have a better word for what she probably wanted to say, but she won't. I can let you guess what word I'm thinking of. But anyway, I will continue. Israel's ambassador to the Philippines, Dana Kirsch, said the potential partnership could be tremendous, highlighting the Philippines' reserves of nickel and other key minerals that Israel lacks domestically. Okay. Okay. So her comments made in a Bagon Filipinas interview on the state-owned PTV network underscore growing bilateral ties under the Pax Silica initiative, a U.S.-led effort launched in December 2025. You have plenty of nickel and other different important minerals. What Israel has to offer is the tech side. We are advanced when it comes to AI and cybersecurity and other technological solutions, Kirsch said. The initiative aims to build resilient, innovation-driven supply chains for silicon-based technologies, from critical minerals to advanced manufacturing, chips, and AI infrastructure, according to the U.S. State Department.
Yep.
The Philippines joined Pax Silica in April 2026 as one of its newest signatories, alongside plans with the United States to develop a 4,000-acre AI-native industrial acceleration hub in New Clark City within the Luzon Economic Corridor. Curtis' remarks comes as the two countries explore deeper cooperation in mineral processing, research and development, and AI, including a possible memorandum of understanding on minerals. I read that already. So, the Philippines is the world's largest exporter of raw nickel ore, accounting for over a third of global shipments. It is followed by Zimbabwe and U.S., according to the Organization of Economic Complexity. Kirsch said the two countries are working on a memorandum of understanding on critical minerals cooperation following the visit of Department and Trade and Industry Secretary Christina Roque and Undersecretary Safino Rofoldo to Israel earlier this month. According to the USGS, the Philippines' primary mineral resources include gold, copper, nickel, cobalt, chromite, iron, as well as non-metallic minerals, limestone, silica, clay, and marble. I cannot speak into the specifics of the MOU. I can speak on the fact that it is a partnership when it comes to technological solutions in AI, in cybersecurity, and in other avenues as well, she told local media. The Philippines is a major producer of nickel, a critical mineral used in batteries, electronics, and other high-tech applications. Israel's strengths in AI, chip design, and cybersecurity would pair with Philippine resources to help diversify supply chains away from dominant players, according to initiative backers. Gee, I wonder which countries those can be. Pax Silica, described by the U.S. State Department under President Donald Trump as a positive-sum partnership of trusted allies, aims to reduce coercive dependencies and bolster economic security in the AI era. Original and subsequent members include U.S., Japan, South Korea, Israel, Australia, Singapore, the UK, and others. The Philippine government has welcomed the initiative as a way to elevate its role in global tech supply chains beyond traditional manufacturing. No immediate details were released on timelines for Pacific Israel-Philippines projects under Pax Silica. In addition, Israel is working with the Department of Information and Communications Technology to finalize a separate cybersecurity MOU. The partnership, she said, is resting on 3 pillars: leadership, academia, and the private sector, all of which are structures both nations already have in place. If we connect both ecosystems, we will find innovative solutions when it comes to how we have a better usage of all that AI can offer us and offer innovative ideas, she said. Aside from sourcing minerals from the Philippines, she noted that her recent visit to central Luzon showed that the Luzon Economic Corridor, spanning from Clark, Pampanga through Subic, Pampanga through Subic and down to Batangas, showed significant potential for a high-tech industry. So that's what Gulf News reported.
Okay.
So this is why I actually wanted to do this, because this is from Lucien Hernando. Who is on Instagram. I believe he's a blogger. I believe. So this is what he posted on his Instagram that actually a friend of mine posted. So he said, Zionist plan exposed, Israel's next target, the Philippines' mineral reserves. Ambassador, we want access to plenty of nickel and other important minerals in the Philippines. Lucien continues. They beat up locals in Sirago. They bullied establishment owners of Palawan and Malapalaska. Now Israel wants unhindered access to our critical mineral resources. Government report, Israel is positioning to gain access to Philippines' strategic mineral reserves through the U.S.-backed Pax Silica framework. Israel announced negotiations for a critical minerals memorandum of understanding, specifically targeting the country's massive nickel reserves. You have plenty of nickel and other different important minerals. Israel Ambassador Dana Kerr said the deal between Israel and the Philippines can be tremendous. She said the country's nickel and other critical minerals can fill a gap for Israel's AI and technology needs. Philippines trade officials went to Israel to make deals with war companies. Our Semiconductor makes that radar, missile guidance, and SATCOM chips for IDF operations in Gaza and the West Bank. Next Silicon, built by former IDF commanders, develops AI critical for automated military targeting and surveillance. CI Semi supplies missile warning, weapons alignment, and targeting systems. She also said Israel is working with Department of Information and Communications Technology to finalize a cybersecurity MOU. Will the Zionists be given access to important data and information? More than likely. Under Pax Silica, Marcos gifts our country and resources to US and Israel for AI and war manufacturing. Do you want to help Trump and Netanyahu make weapons for their genocidal wars? Will we allow the US and Israel to plunder our resources to fuel their genocide wars? Why is this not being reported? Share this post, DM. Yeah, so again, didn't get a lot of information about this yet, but I'm sure there'll be more news forthcoming, and I'm sure one of our more trusted commentators that journalists that we report on frequently will probably report on this and probably in more depth eventually. But yeah. I felt it'd be cool to kind of get ahead of this, but also just kind of show Israel, with our backing, is exploiting another global country for their for their resources to aid in what's happening in the Middle East right now. And the sad thing is that the Philippines, well, with their leadership, are going for it.
Yep.
So, as I say all the time, tale as old as time, or a remix of the capitalism that we report about on the weekly. Yep. So, any thoughts, Reef, since you have a story that's connected to this?
Well, it's also, it's also fuel resources. It's also like something Indy talked about. He covered a Richard Medhurst thing last night, covering a very similar thing to when we covered, where they're trying to influence Japan and Taipei and get them to have some military alliances to all try to control like China and Russia's fuel resource. They're just trying to suck up the resources, try to gain as much resources as possible right now, cut everyone else off, right? And it's feudal siege warfare shit. It's like literally we're gonna try to like wait them out now,
right. It also kind of lends itself into like a more firmer stance on the greater Israel project, especially given where the Philippines are in the Pacific. But I think it's strategically a way to cut off China and Russia from the resources that they possess by interceding into the Philippines. And I wouldn't be surprised if Taiwan eventually might be on the list too, as a way to kind of play nice, with these countries. We'll work with you. And meanwhile, they're using these or developing these technologies, giving them resources for war.
Yeah. The Pacific Theater. We're trying to control the resources of the Pacific Theater, So Australia's involved, like it's all, so the risk board has all its pieces on it, So, but talking about these stories is certainly why YouTube decides to suppress us. So if you want to donate to us anyway and not let YouTube get a 30% cut, you can scan the QR code on your screen, go to ko-fi.com/India News Network, or links are in the description below. And if you can't give because you're, one of the poors like ourselves, you like and subscribe, hit the share button, leave a comment, let us know what you think. And otherwise, thanks for watching. We did it. Upstate Raider in general is my point, given you all have this in your presentations. Rock on, guys. Yeah, we did one specifically on like the living wage across the country, I think. Do you remember what that one's called? It's been that was a while ago. That may have been like a couple of years ago. Man, like we definitely don't bring it up as much as we probably should. Because it's ridiculous right now everywhere. People can't afford to do shit, So that poverty line must be fucking real high. I don't know where it's at, but anyway, let me check before we get to our next one. Seven signs. So all to position themselves, attack China once Israel takes over. U.S. military is completed. Which we talked about that, how they're trying to merge the militaries. Although I can't imagine they'll be successful. Let me fucking be right on that one. That would stupid to merge that shit. All right. Time for our next one. So, this guy, Care Bear. You've seen this guy before?
Yes.
Klaus Schwab. Yes. Dr. Evil himself The intelligent age is replacing our cognitive capabilities with AI. WA founder Klaus Schwab. This is The Sociable. Publication Indy has in his website. So you're welcome to check that out. Link in the doobly-doo. But they write, the intelligence age is replacing our cognitive capabilities with AI, and universities should prioritize teaching students how to capably use technology over teaching actual knowledge, according to WEF founder Klaus Schwab. Live streaming today at the University of Johannesburg in South Africa, Schwab spoke at length about what he calls the intelligent age and what it means for jobs, students, and humanity. So this is like the architect of the Great Reset guy. You know, we've talked about him ad nauseum. But we'll let him talk, which, you know, just picture him as a Bond villain and the scene gets a little different, you know? Just put Bond music behind it.
Of course, what is leadership in this new age? And I think we are going in an age where let's go back to the industrial age. What does the industrial age do? It replaced our physical activities by the machine. What is the intelligent age doing? It is replacing our cognitive capabilities by algorithm, by all what we call now artificial intelligence. So what does it mean for leadership? And I think, you may be surprised, we have to do exactly in terms of leadership thinking the contrary of what technology is doing. In order to master this new intelligent age, we have to remind ourselves much more what creates really a human being, what makes us human. So my whole concern at the moment is, how can we create a counterweight to the technological development, to this, let's say, development which is escaping to a certain extent already our control? How can we create a...
Wait, what? You were saying, what were you saying?
To a certain extent already our control.
Already outside of your control?
How can we create a counterweight which has to be humanism? It has to be our, let's say, ethical, our moral. What makes us really human beings?
And you can just put, he doesn't mean humanist. He forgot the trans in front of it. That's the, you know, like literal bionic human shit. What if the intelligent age doing? Is it replacing our cognitive abilities, cognitive capabilities by algorithm or by what we call our artificial intelligence? Master tool intelligent age, right? What makes us human? According to Schwab, the winners in this brave new world where intelligence is delegated to algorithms will be those who are able to adapt. However, we shall see the adaptability, or as the German native Schwab calls it, adaptability, will mean having enough money to be able to afford access to AI knowledge bases and know how to use them to their advantage. Yeah, we have another one.
It's a word of adaptability.
Yes.
If you want to succeed in the intelligent age, the key word is adaptability. But combined with adaptability is also, I would say, resilience. Wow. Because adaptability means always to adjust, to change. And now, what is happening? And let me maybe add a philosophical, not really philosophical, but consideration. The world is changing so fast today. And the world has become so interdisciplinary, so complex, that people do not really understand anymore what's going on. Yeah. And that's, by the way, a big issue also for political leaders, because it creates in many people the frustration which we see everywhere. Because we feel we are not anymore in control of what's happening. And I think and I come back to the word adaptability, I think we have to accept that we are living in a very fluent, in a very fast-changing, exponentially changing world. And that we may be not anymore completely in control of ourselves, but we have to learn to adapt very much to this changing world. And that's particularly also to adapt to retirement age.
Wow.
Any questions, Care Bear?
This is my worst fear.
Okay.
Like, he's making the case that we need to be dumb, essentially.
Right.
You know, like, don't think, we will do the thinking for you. You just be a good little peasant and just follow whatever the AI, whatever the computer generated thing tells you to do, which we're already starting to see. And I feel like in the age of social media, I think this is becoming a little more exasperated because we generally tend to see stuff on social media and not critique it properly. Like, we just accept whatever we see as truth.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this last week, you know, like, whenever we use AI, especially if we're like doing a paper or something, we just say, oh, we're done, without looking at it to see what errors, because the thing with AI, and even for me, like, as I'm using it for various things, like, it's not perfect. Like, if anything, like, we do some stuff with it, like here, right. And like, it's not to say it's shit, but like, there definitely are imperfections into it that, like, you have to check it and double check it and like to make sure that it's actually like it makes sense. And sometimes it doesn't even work, or it will not allow you to do certain things.
Right.
So that aspect of the technology is not quite there yet, depending on what you're doing. But people will just do it and just be like, okay, we're done. And not like
that's what they want.
Fully immerse them. Right. It's just take us at face value so we can take away the thinking for you. Like, you reported on how, I think it was last week, this guy fought what was his deal?
Oh,
like
God. He made an entire like deity, you know, like
right, like what? Like, you know, so it's just kind of one of these things where it's forcing us to be dumb. Not forcing, but like, you know, it's not letting us to really, it's making us being more lazy than I think we need to be. You know, so, and because the technology is moving so fast, we're not training each other, or especially for me, our kids, how to navigate that properly and to actually give them the skills of being a little more critical when using AI. Not to say it's a bad thing, but it's like anything else, a tool used to enhance your work, not fully take over it. So, and I feel more people now are beginning to use it on that side of it rather than like as a means to try to figure out how to improve upon it versus what you do get from it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Without knowing what is going on in the world, what is real, what is true, what is genuine, what is fake, and the overwhelming amount of information at our fingertips, Schwab said that the way to get to the truth was through large language models like Claude or ChatGPT. So that's really exactly what you're saying.
Maybe here artificial intelligence can help, because with artificial intelligence you have many more capabilities to find out what truth is. I mean, if I go today to Claude or to ChatGPT or whatever it is, if I make the necessary efforts, I can find out what the truth is. And I'm not caught in one of the echo chambers of social media.
So, I mean, exactly what you said they were wanting to have happen. You know, make everyone dumb and then use AI. So notice how Schwab says, if I make the necessary efforts. Why is that? It's because these AI tools scrape the internet and push forward the top ranking results. Top ranking doesn't always correlate with truth. The necessary efforts, therefore, are related to human research. You can't trust a large language model to bring you the truth because it will spit back whether some spook had ghost edited in Wikipedia or what was allowed by censors at Reddit or what information wasn't permitted by the gatekeepers at Google and their unelected globalist partners at the UN. Nevertheless, Schwab puts his faith in AI and the big tech companies to providing all the knowledge we need. In this scenario, universities are outdated, and according to the WEF founder, higher education should focus more on learning how to use these new technologies rather than teaching actual knowledge. Like, this is the dystopian future we all get to look forward to. You know? It's just the worst dystopian nightmare. Oh, don't worry. He said the thing about the universities.
So two new elements. First, the knowledge which you learn today is probably out of fashion in 5, 6, 7 years and so on. That's number one. And number two, you don't have to go to university anymore. For each knowledge question, you can go to Claude, you can go to ChatGPT or whatever. I mean, knowledge is around us and is free of charge.
Yep.
So what does it mean? Should you invest 4 years to learn something which you can read on your iPad, real time, whenever you need it, instead of being loaded with knowledge of maybe 90% you don't need in your professional activities? So, first of all, I think universities have to think about not only to transmit knowledge, but to transmit particularly or to teach the capabilities to use knowledge. And here I see, we discussed it already, universities should focus much more on the human dimension, so that we can integrate the knowledge which we absorb via artificial intelligence and so on into a humanistic framework. That's number one. And number two, universities should teach much more the capabilities, which I would say the leadership capabilities which we need in this new intelligent age.
I mean, everyone caught all the little things between, you got to read between the lines, you know? But they're in there. So instead of striving for the pursuit of knowledge, all you have to do is call on big tech and they'll give you the correct answers for free. Not if OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has anything to say about that. In March, Altman declared that after bypassing all copyright and intellectual property infringements by scraping the entire collective knowledge of humankind from the internet, he wants to sell it back to us on a meteor.
Fundamentally, our business, and I think the business of every other model provider, is going to look like selling tokens. You know, they may come from bigger or smaller models, which makes them more or less expensive. They may use more or less reasoning, which also makes them more or less expensive. They may be running all the time in the background trying to help you out. They may run only when you need them if you want to pay less. They may work super hard, you know, spend tens of millions, hundreds of millions, someday billions of dollars on a single problem that's really valuable. But we see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for. The demand that we see for that seems like it's going to continue to just go like this. And if we don't have enough, we either can't sell it, or the price gets really high and it, you know, kind of goes to rich people, or society makes a bunch of sort of central planning decisions that I think almost always go badly about, you know, we're going to use our limited compute supply for this and not that. So the best thing to me throughout all the history of capitalism, innovation, whatever you want, is to just flood the market.
Capitalism. Capitalism.
What?
Fundamental.
What? Capitalism couldn't be that. Couldn't be the capitalisms. If intelligence were to become a utility told on a meter, then the intelligent age would only benefit those who could afford it. Everything Schwab said would be reserved for the elite. The poor would continue to be not just poor, but also dumb. And it all starts with education. According to Schwab, we should give up our pursuit of knowledge. We should instead focus on our capabilities. And what type of capabilities are those? The capabilities to interact with a chatbot, and you should go back to university every year to get your updated certificate as if it were a subscription to be beholden to AI and big tech for life. Schwab calls this a transition from learning for life to lifelong learning.
So I see the university system long term. Of course, you need a training, you need an education, but as I said, it should be mainly an education in capabilities and not so much in knowledge. And afterwards, I think universities should go into the direction of yearly certification. So if I have my employees, then I can ask them, did you do your certification for this year? And then I know he's up to date. If not, so those are the two directions. To repeat again, to go from learning for life to lifelong learning, and combined with certification, and instead of transmitting knowledge, to transmit much more the capabilities how to deal with the knowledge. And this is a fundamental change, and it will take some time, but universities which start now, and there are examples. Professor Mpedi, I think you have relations with, in my opinion, National University of Singapore is probably in the lead of preparing for such a new age. So,
Singapore. Just keep that in the back of your brains for stories in the future. So when that comes up. But with only the elite having access to an intelligence on a meter and lifelong learning, Schwab acknowledged that the WEF has far long been criticized for being elitist. However, he never actually denied being an elitist. Instead, he doubled down on the notion that we are part of a global community which flies in the face of sovereign nations and of different cultural values that are not shared by a global community.
Of course, the forum was very often criticized for being elite. I feel by focusing on globalization. And I was, let's say, very often called the lead globalist or whatever. Globalization should not be a philosophy or an ideology. We are part of a global community. We are globally interdependent. And even if now some forces work again into the opposite direction, at the end, and artificial intelligence is just a good example, I think at the end we are globally interdependent. And if we are interdependent, it forces also us to work together. So the forum in the future, in my opinion, will be more needed than ever before.
Any questions?
This makes me so sad. No, I don't have questions.
Yeah. Speaking of the WF, Schwab said he created it in 1971 as means to reject Nobel Prize laureate and economist Milton Friedman, who said that the business of business was business. Schwab said no to that and came up with what he called stakeholdership. So, it's the libertarian dream, Milton Friedman. They have his poster up on their wall all day. Yay.
I was fascinated by Milton Friedman, Nobel Prize winner and so on. And he had written a comment in editorial in New York Times saying, the business of business is business. And everything which is social, you leave to the governments, they should regulate it. And I came to the conclusion, no, a company is not just an economic unit. It's part of society. So if you lead a business, you are not just responsible towards the shareholders, you are responsible towards all those who have a stake in the company. The stakeholders, I called it. So I coined this notion of stakeholdership. And it was stakeholdership different from shareholdership. Stakeholdership, you serve society, you serve all your stakeholders. In shareholder capitalism, your primary objective, as Milton Friedman said, is to serve the owners and the shareholders. So I wrote the book, and then I felt I should propagate this idea to serve society. And that's the reason why I created the World Economic Forum as a platform to let's say, develop this idea of stakeholder capitalism.
Capitalism. How many times do I have to press the button? Like, they tell you it's capitalism right in the forefront. They tell you that's what it is. What was it? The business of business is business, Care Bear? I feel like this video kind of sums this up.
Your business runs on business, but your business's business is stuck in the past. Until now. Introducing Business AI for Business. Business AI for Business leverages the power of business AI for your business, transforming your business into AI business. With Business AI for Business, Business AI does your business in seconds, leaving your team to focus on the important business of your business, business. Now your business is free to run your business at scale, at speed, at AI. The future of business isn't coming, it's here. Business AI for Business. Business AI, business, AI, AI, AI.
I mean, that's where we're fucking at, dog. Like, so, like, there's a little more to this. Anyway, Jesus Christ. Closing thoughts, Care Bear.
We dumb.
Yeah.
Or we're going to be. Yeah, it's just too bad that. Now, granted, I'm a child of the 80s. So, like, having to remember, like, if we wanted to go research something, you had to go to the library, you had to look for it, you had to go through, like, you had to go through the files in order to find the book, and then had to go to the shed. Like, it was a whole process in order, and it might not even have everything that you needed in order to do your research, but you had to put in the work in order to have something of quality. And I think there is something to that. You know, it taught you how to, I guess, persevere or like kind of keep at it. Like, whereas now, like the information that you want, you can get in seconds in the palm of your hand. And it's like, I don't know. It's just kind of taken away, like, the intentionality of actually looking for things and having time to, and appreciate the time that you need in order to do proper research. Like, you don't need to do that anymore. And now with AI, you don't even have to do the work.
Right.
Like, it will straight up do it for you.
Yep.
And so, and I think we definitely need to be careful with that, only because, like, if we get so dependent on it, then, like, it just kind of reminds me of WALL-E, literally, in terms of, like, we just sit in those armsit chairs and just get fat and just have the computers do everything for us. And, you know, meanwhile, like, the overlords, which are the corporations, profit off of our, you know, like, I'm not sure what you would call it, but, like, they will just profit off, like, our bluffness, I guess. You know, like,
yeah,
because they're the ones with the true brain power in order to keep us in control or to keep us kind of distracted. Like, but it's scary to think of that.
And that's
reality.
That's literally,
here.
Collin, that's the Disney dystopia.
Right.
The fucking,
right.
The WALL-E, like, how about Warhammer, where AI takes over everything to the point where it wants to murder all of us, so we stop using it and we plug human brains in instead, and, you know, use that. So Fallout also does a similar thing. You know, human brains instead of AI, much easier. Just, you know, pull it right out of that body. It'll work. So, but well, talking about these things is definitely why we're, you know, shadow banned to hell. So if you want to get around that system and donate to us before it's too late, you can go to ko-fi.com/Indie News Network and scan that QR code on your screen, or you can always check the description. But more importantly, like and subscribe, hit the share button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Mew. You know, you made people start reminiscing about card catalogs, and I feel like that's in the rule books to not do. You know, I feel like it pops a couple more wrinkles out that we don't need. You know? So I just missed the card catalog days, but luckily the South has a terrible education system, and we still had that shit. Like,
I'm
sure. Yeah. So, I felt I was in school forever. Besides my degree, I went to flight school, water school, scuba school, welding school, CAD school, and database school, and even a short oopsie boom boom school. Yeah. Sometimes you got to keep going to the oopsie boom boom schools. Singapore. Yep. When I was a teacher, I made sure that everyone understood the basics before using any augmented knowledge engine, the term I prefer over AI. Lifetime subscription for college. Boy, dude, the bookies are just like, yeah, give me the money. They want that shit, dude. Could you imagine? Could you imagine, Collin? Not just student debt. Not just student debt. Servitude. That's what that is.
It's the idea of like you don't have to go to college. You can just like.
Yep.
Well, I think it's funny because it's like all these elites will tell you you don't need to go to college, but then their kids go.
Right.
So it's like, and they go to the Ivy Leagues at that. So it's like, why are you telling the poorest to not go when you will pay billions to ensure that your children are going to college? Like, well, we know why that is, but I think it's just kind of funny. Like, they promote to be miseducated, but then they'll send their kids to be educated in the top schools in the country or in the world, no less. Ridiculous.
Vic Adams. So the goal is to make everyone dependent on AI, and then after everyone trains it, then they will make sure you pay for it after people have forgotten how to create knowledge and know-how. Yep.
Right.
We were loaded with the image of Schwab, bad guy from Bond movies. Yep. I mean, he just needs a little cat to like pet, dude. I mean, he's straight up Dr. Evil himself. Dr. Evil. Kamishwari Kate, don't throw away your grandparents' encyclopedia sets. Save your dad's history books. Yeah, dude, just preservation of knowledge is a legit thing. Most tech students using AI don't understand the questions they ask. I don't want to ride on a jet where the engineer uses the AI to write engine code. Well, you're giving them ideas, bro. Well, I have a bonus story for us this evening. It's short. It's just some poetry. Poetry Corner. We are in Poetry Corner this evening. Hello, your host, Reef Breland, here at Poetry Corner. No bread, only circuses, Care Bear. That's how you control the mob now. Only circuses must be had. Definitely don't give them bread, especially if it's in a line. You know, apparently we have a thing about that. So Caitlin Johnstone, they are building a UFC arena on the White House lawn. I read this and it felt very much like Whitey's on the Moon to me. Which I might read after this one. But I digress. So, Caitlin writes, they are building a UFC arena on the White House lawn. Have you seen it, Care Bear? Have you seen this nonsense?
In person? In person, no.
Look at this fucking nonsense. There's gonna be a fucking whole octagon of fucking dude. Look, you know me. I watch this shit every Saturday. Like, to my detriment. It is the most insufferable propaganda nonsense to have ever been invented. And boy, howdy, I could write a book about the fucking evil, vile history of mafia dons and fucking CIA nonsense that fight sport is. Literally of every country's oligarchs. It's the worst thing on the planet. But, you know. So they're building a UFC arena on the White House lawn because the world has gone insane. And there are chatbots in our skulls, and our eyes have been crossed out with black ink. They are building a UFC arena on the White House lawn so the president can watch men fight in a cage while the Paramount Plus audience Watch as military recruitment ads that are marketed to teenagers, and a podcast plutocrat interviews men with bloody hands as shame-soaked survivors sleep on the sidewalk in Washington, D.C. As Cuban parents light a candle and skip another meal, as Lebanese medics die in double-tap airstrikes, as billionaires cackle after stripping all human knowledge and selling it back to us as a subscription service. As we shovel fistfuls of mood stabilizers down our gullets to keep us functional enough to turn the gears of industry, as we sit in dark rooms with flashing screens and dead eyes while silverfish crawl all over us, as women hold loaded pistols to their heads on camera to pleasure men who have concrete in their chests. As the last good thing on the internet gets purchased by Google and turned into military software where it will be used to train weaponized robot dogs to rape prisoners in IDF torture camps, as forgotten godlings awaken within us to sharpen our teeth and our blades, as nature returns wearing a necklace of wet skulls to reclaim all that was stolen from her. As the blood on the octagon canvas mixes with the blood of the Muslim martyrs, they are building a UFC arena on the White House lawn so the president can watch men fight in a cage from the comfort of his own home on his birthday. He does not know about the strange beast stirring within us. He does not know about the sharpening blades. Interesting words from Caitlin.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're a warrior taking part in that spectacle, the blade should go one place and one place only in that 200 square feet where that octagon should be. You know? And it's in the Oval Office. You know? Like, how much better coordinates do you need, dog? Like, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, books were written on less glory in that fucking regard, dude. Thoughts, concerns, questions. Like, fucking sad, dude.
We live in hell right now.
We really do.
Hell.
Fucking.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talking about these things is why YouTube suppresses our channel to all hell. So you can scan that QR code on your screen. Go to co-fi.com/Indie News Network. You know, links are always in the description. You know, if you can't do that, like, subscribe, share this with your friends. I feel like this one's an important one. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Care Bear. We did it.
Yes, sir. We did it.
That's our show. Chat, thoughts, concerns. Vicky Adams, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it's bad. Like, the Russians are bringing Andrew Tate. The fucking dude. Fight sports, man. There's very few good outliers in it, and God, I wish that wasn't the case. OnlyFans, Zio Satanist circuses. Yep. So, could you imagine any other president? Could you imagine Obama, like, fucking, dude, imagine if Obama had like an NBA game.
Like, they got on him over redoing the basketball courts at the White House or something like that. That was such a...
Like, you know, this fucking stupid shit, dude. You know? We're gonna have fucking blood sport out here in front of the fucking... I mean, yes, like, the irony is not lost on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not lost on me. Having said that, it will be an insufferable fucking nightmare that I will suffer through for everyone else, just so I could fucking witness the fucking spectacle of the bullshit and the death of our empire. God, is it gonna be fucking horrendous, dude. They're gonna have fucking Ram trucks attached to fucking B-52 Jet 16, fucking AR-15, God, Bush commercial, like, fucking Bud Light truck, fucking yeehaw ass motherfucking bullshit. Alright? I'm tired of it. Trump's gonna fucking do his little fucking dance. Fucking, yeah, fuck you. He's gonna do that shit 8 times. Oh my God. Is it gonna be awful? Like, just fucking take me out back before it happens. Right. Both Tates belong in prison for life. I'm with you on that one. Get their lanky ass fucking shit locked up. Gabriel, do we know what's coming up this week?
I do not. I don't think it's anything different, though.
Yeah. Same shit every week. Go check out the websites. Should be calendars and stuff you can find in the descriptions. You can always go to our Twitter at Get Indie News. And our Substack to get updates of when we go live. But you know, next week, same bad time, same bad channel, 9 p.m. Wednesdays.
Done an episode.
Yay, 200. So look forward to that. And remember, kids, labels are bad. Stay independent. Good night, fam.
Have a good week, everyone.
There's a difference between peace and liberation, is there not? You can have injustice and have peace. Isn't that correct? And peace and be enslaved.
Yes?
So peace isn't the answer.
No.
Liberation is the answer.
You